grip. Hit her with the hammer time, too legit to quit. Keep bouncing, girl, keep bouncing. Keep bouncing, girl, keep bouncing. Keep bouncing, girl, keep bouncing. Keep bouncing, keep bouncing. Jump, 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 jump. The Mac Daddy make it hard. Jump, 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 jump. The Mac Daddy make it hard. 88 bunny, 88 bunny, 88 bunny, 88 bunny, 88 bunny, 88 bunny. I make the bounce on you.
Excuse me, throw me for a loop, motherfucker. Just because you got free frequent flyer miles and shit.
Right.
You already stole my lighter? It happens. Nigga already come to the lighter.
Did I?
No, you put it back there? No.
Oh.
I threw it to you, right?
Oh, it's probably with the...
That's what you probably threw it back there? Yeah, I figured that. Come through with frequent flyer miles and shit.
Yeah, I gotta keep the...
Come through with a fresh new Miami fitted, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotta keep it right.
You know what I mean? All grayed out with, you know what I mean? On, what's those?
Oh, these are... these are some sketcher joints.
Oh, the sketcher joints. I thought there was some other joints. But they match up, though?
Yeah, these are nice. These are some sketcher joints. I like them because they remind me of, like, Air Maxes.
Yeah, that's what it looked like at first. I was like, I had all gray Air Maxes. They wasn't that gray, though. They was a little lighter.
And so, like, I walk a lot. So, like...
as long as it's comfortable, I don't give a fuck what you wearing, man.
It's super comfortable because all of this is cush padding.
Yeah.
Right? And then up here, too. And then the best thing is usually... so how I walk, I usually walk a lot. And
well, you're a tall guy.
Yeah.
So you gotta make sure you walk in a certain, balance.
I deteriorate, like the bottom of my heels usually eat away on one side.
Well, coming up in the military, that must that it must have started there though, then, right?
I would think so. Just the pattern of how I walk, But I like these because it doesn't eat away, no matter how much
It doesn't matter. Now Nikes ain't even popular no more. It's like Essex and New Balance.
I think really.
How did that happen?
Well,
how did that become the new poppin' shit? They used to this when I had New Balances, niggas ain't want to claim it. Now niggas want to have New Balances.
Things change really. Like I feel like we've expanded our opportunity of creating things and how we shop, and
so we kind of recycle things back into motion.
Over time things recycle, and you might see something recycled twice over a 40-year span.
I got you.
Right?
I got you.
Like, and I think now people are so much more on this conscious level of taking care of themselves that the thought of someone patronizing you for your shoes, no one cares about anymore. Right? I mean, I guess, like, if you're in school, I would still believe there's a level of that in high school, at every generation phase is like, these are the new LeBrons, these are the new KDs. And,
yeah.
It might not be like a stigma like how it used to be when we were in high school.
Yeah, but it'll be something
but
like
it's
that.
still like, who has the new wear, the new attire. And that does have a little... make them a echelons higher.
Man, wear what you want to wear. Fuck whoever else got something to say about it. I don't care if it's cheap or not. I've been rocking all my old fake shit.
Right.
Lately. I've been like, oh, this is nice. Just bring out.
Listen, the end goal, I feel like dressing, your outfit, how you smell, the cologne you wear, all that stuff is to motivate you to be better in your daily. So, like, as long as you're happy with what's going on and it's allowing you to perform better, then that's all that really matters, because the outcome is
what matters most.
Is what
and
matters
how you feel
most.
about it.
Yeah,
And how you feel about it. Hey, folks, how you doing?
What's going on?
You know what I mean? We have a surprise episode today. You know what I mean, my brother. You know what I mean? I knew this guy for a long, long, long time. And every time you come through, something pops up out of the blue. Now, we've gone through this religiously. This is your third time on this platform. Yeah. But every time you come on this platform, there's a situation.
It reminds me of when I was performing at the Collective, and something was always wrong with like the CDs were scratching or something,
I
and then
remember.
I had
That's
to bring
horrible.
I had to ask the band to come up and make
Oh,
shit
yeah,
for performance.
you did that on purpose, just so you could get them niggas to love you, man. Fuck that shit.
No,
You
like
would go up and be like, "Y'all can't do it. Y'all have the band." Matter of fact, you and Tommy were the most liked in that whole conglomerate as far as like, let's do some experimental shit real quick.
right,
And see if that shit'll work.
right.
That would never happen with me. What? Nah, I don't know.
Well, you know, so I'll say this because it's been many years from it. The first 2 times it happened, I didn't plan it. The third time, I
He was
did
like,
plan
"Ah,
it,
that's
yeah.
what we doing."
Yeah. Because the third time, the minute it started skipping the first instant, I was like, you know what? Let's
Anytime.
do it because these 3 times they're over a span of 2-3 years. So on the third try, I knew that we were heading close to the end of where the Collective wasn't going to be around much anymore. So
How many years? What the Collective was? What, 2-3 years? 2 years? 3 years tops?
No, it was much more than that.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was much more than that because
from going to the Zen to going to the Class Bar wasn't 2 to 3 years altogether.
No,
It was longer than that.
it was longer than that.
Didn't seem like it.
It's like 5 years.
From what, 2008, 09?
Yeah, it's like 5 years, 5, 6 years. Could be longer too.
I don't know. We got to figure that out.
Yeah,
I didn't know
could be
that.
longer.
But every time you come over here, something happens. The first time, we don't have to recap too much,
Yeah.
but there was a big ordeal, and you was here with my bro Is.
Right.
Yeah, that was around Christmas. That was around
December. We all had jackets, had a scarf on. I remember that.
Yeah. So that was in the winter time. That was a whole situation. That was early attention whores. That might have been a year and a half in, something like that.
Right.
A year to 2 years in. And then you came back and we did another episode with you.
Right.
And that's when I was only going live, like on there right there. I was only going live.
Right.
And when I used to go live, the whole live would turn into like some Nintendo game looking like shit.
Yeah.
And then the sound was
all
crazy. Yeah. I didn't have mics. It was crazy back then. So I was like, I couldn't even really do anything with that episode. So after that time, you kind of really disappeared because you had moved.
Yeah.
You had traveled.
I went to Belize. Yeah.
You went to Belize. You went back home. You know what I mean? Got a new, you in a whole new spectrum. You know what I mean? You get to see the flat earth all day, every day. I don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just look crazy for saying it. You see it all day and you say, you know what? But I'm not sure. It's okay. You do that every day. You know what I mean? Your whole life has changed now. You're seeing new places.
Yeah.
You're going to Miami for weekends. You know what I mean? Shit like that.
I love Miami. I love Miami. Like, it kind of feels like how when I was like 22, 23, like how New York City made me feel.
Word?
Yeah,
But
like,
is that like when you first got here, or is it just
the
atmosphere?
excitement, the atmosphere.
Ah.
It's rejuvenating. You know what I mean? Like when you go there, there's so much going on, like from you get to Hollywood Beach area up by the Fort Lauderdale area, you get around South Beach, and Brickell. I love Brickell.
What is Brickell?
So it's like this little section, I guess, like in the South Beach area.
Mm.
It's called Brickell. Very established area. A lot of high rises. A lot of rich people that are there.
It sounds like something. I'm going to Brickell this evening.
I mean, it's so dope. Like
that sounds like something you hear from like Harry Potter.
It's just this style of living that is really nice. And, there's a community that's there. I think a studio is like $2,000. So it's expensive, but it's nice. You pay for what you get, and you get community. You get young entrepreneurs, entertainers that are waiting on tables and working at the grocery stores in there. But at nighttime, they're at the bars and they're they're performing and doing stuff like that. So
Gotcha.
I don't know. I love Miami. Like I go there a lot. I'll pop up and spend like 24 hours and
Yeah,
go there by myself and
he
hang
hit me
out.
like last week, like, yo, what you doing? You doing something? I was like, I'm not sure what I got planned today. He was like, all right, I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna come to Jersey or if I'm gonna stay in Miami. I'm like, that's not too hard.
Yeah.
That's not too hard of a decision right now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm in Jersey now, be in Miami if I could. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No,
But anyway, folks, like I always say, I didn't even start this. Like I always say, this is the unstoppable, uncomparable, undeniable, almighty, like the goddamn Avengers, AWP, Attention Horse, podcast episode 532. The Doc is back. And this is Murdakkh here, also known as Luke Skywalker, also known to the ladies as Lukey.
Yeah. It's Lukey.
What's the other part to the Lukey?
Oh no, because on Facebook it's Luke Ladyville.
Oh, Ladyville, and you're from Ladyville, right?
Yeah, Ladyville, Belize.
Yeah, there you go. So that whole
well, the Lukey thing comes from my parents. So
that's an old like name.
Yeah,
okay,
that's my mom. That's my mom and my dad.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. That's for Mama to say.
Nah, it's okay. No, I don't mind. When I was younger, this is how like when you get older, you kind of just embrace life differently. Because it was such a pet name my mom gave me, I was very sensitive about hearing it outside of the public, right?
Yeah.
And so when I got
But
older,
she made it public, didn't she?
Oh yeah, of course she made it public.
That's
like, Lukey, get in this house, right? Yeah, and so as I got older, I realized the relationship between my parents that I have with them, and I look at it as, especially where I work at right now, dealing with consumers in a mass drove like that.
Yeah.
It's like being able to help people and remind myself that these are someone else's parents, right? And then I guess I kind of morphed into this person that really appreciates the culture of where I come from and the nicknames and the little things that my parents and my family gave me. So when I went to when I was in training for my job, I ended up they asked, you have a nickname. So I said, all right, boom, I want Lukey. Right. so everyone was like, Lukey, right? But it reminds me of when my parents called me.
Okay.
So for me, it's like a
home away from home type feel.
It's a fun way when people say it to me. I think of my mom and my dad, and that makes me feel good.
So, there you go. Clap for that motherfucker. There you go. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
Shit. All right. Well, I ain't calling you Lukey, goddammit.
No. Whatever you feel like.
I'll call you Doc. Your mama name you Doc. I'ma name you Doc. Nah, she didn't do that. But so bro, there's been a lot of shit you've been doing the last 4 or 5 years, since like pretty much right before the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Cause when did you move?
2019.
Yeah, right before the pandemic, right?
Right before, yeah. It was like August of 2019.
That's right. And that's when you went back home, right?
Yeah.
So how was that transition?
I would say I was going back home a little bit, but
here and
there, probably like once every year or so.
Yeah, right? You would make a big thing for that, right?
Yeah. And so I already had established a level of community that, a lot of the elder people in Belize already knew my parents, so they knew me growing up. So when I came back home, it was more me, like going to the store and someone saying hi to me, like, oh, that Lukey, or they might think my name is Anthony, like I look like my brother and older brother. So
Soldier.
Yeah. Well, no, that's Israel.
That's right.
Anthony is the oldest one.
Even though he looks Soldier Boy too, it's like it's the same shit.
We all got that fade cut, that
military,
that fade, that Nas,
You know what I mean? Like you was
firm biz cut. AZ had that cut too. Yeah.
He got the firm biz for you, baby. Firm biz.
Yeah.
All right. That's crazy. That might have been the pause or no Diddy, but we don't know yet.
Right. Right. So I ended up going out there and trying to I get accustomed because it's different. Time is slower. You don't need a lot of clothes. Because it's always hot. And I went back to my house, but my house was still like in really the early days, right? So
Mm,
it was where my parents were staying at, and then my father and my mother built another house next door,
mm.
right? So then my dad left that to me, and then from there I started fixing it up because no one's been in there for like 5-6 years. So we had to put new windows
That's
in, new
right.
doors and stuff, and I the end goal is to get it up on Airbnb, and I had it renting
And this
probably
is how
for
much
like
land is that you're taking care of right now.
uh so the house, there's like a quarter of an acre. It's like, so where I live at right now is like
Mm.
126 by 90 in square footage, right? So it's close to like a quarter of an acre, and then I have another quarter of an acre up in the mountains in Belize, closer to Guatemala. And then a good friend of mine's, she has her Airbnb in Ladyville,
Hmm.
and so I worked with her during that time when I was back home into kind of learning more about the
How to
business.
figure
Yeah,
out to get
shout
it.
out to Rusty Blue. Shout out to Rusty Blue,
Okay.
Belize, Um, and so then my brother started working on his next door. So then the three of us put together a scenario so my brother can be in a better situation, rental and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
now, they run off with that. And so now I'm trying to kind of like develop myself and move further and develop the properties that I have.
Hmm.
Like the house that I have right now, that should be ready in like January, February,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
right?
you've
For
been
people,
working on it for a while.
yeah, so people could come through and visit and explore the country and get to
Mm.
know it. But I think to your question, it took like maybe like 3 months to really kind of get back into the groove of how things go. Because like back home in Belize, for me at least, and for
Mm.
my family, it's early start, early end,
What
right?
do you mean by that? Early
There's not
start,
much of
early
a
end.
heavy nightlife, right? So it's almost like you're
Oh, it's
living in
more
the
morning.
yeah, it's almost like you're living in the country,
So
right?
when the lights go
When the
down,
lights go down, unless there's something going on specifically
we
that
for
you're heading
yeah,
to,
yeah,
most people are in their house,
yeah. They're not in the
right? And
randomly
they
outside.
wake up when the sun is coming up or a little bit before.
Yeah, yeah.
I see it a lot in Belize where people in the Los Lagos community, people are like walking around, from the tourists to the Belizeans,
Mm,
exercising early in the morning, riding their bikes.
mm.
You see a lot of people riding bikes in Belize. And so those 2 years really was about rebuilding, and you get to about 40. I was turning 40 during that time,
Mm.
and uh, had to me a very good successful career musically wise, putting out the music and being able to
That was a
perform.
big thing for you turning 40, and you've been putting out this music and everything
Yeah,
thus far. So yeah, my bad. Continue.
yeah, and so that's a lot, because then that's where a lot of the music ended up finally coming out. Because when I was 40, I started researching how to put out the music like
Mm.
through waterfall techniques and stuff like that to gain more streams and to get the music more noticed out there.
Mm.
And so just being back home, being with my parents, growing up in New Jersey, it was just me and the family I created, and my family. Like my brothers were around, but my mom
Mm.
and my dad, they were back home. So it was different being there with them
Yeah,
on a
yeah.
daily basis
Basis.
than
Yeah, yeah.
just answering a phone.
Call or
You know what I'm
message or
saying?
something like that.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And at the beginning, it was Boss Revolution. I was using Boss Revolution phone cards. That's when phone cards were still a thing, until
Yeah, yeah.
WhatsApp and video
Yeah,
messaging.
yeah. You have to call them a certain way with the number and all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Would you feel like in America it's more like you were always trying to catch up to what was happening or trying to find your own way?
Um, I would definitely feel like at heart, I'm a Belizean, and I know that because my family, even when we came to America, we still had a lot of our culture that we did on a day-to-day basis, right? So that was, that's the thing. But as I got older, it's funny, as I came to America, I wanted to be more American to fit into the crowd and everything, to make
Yeah.
the
You
ways
don't
of
want
life
you don't want to
easier.
be called some kind of foreigner type person. You don't want to be stuck out as that. You rather
Yes.
assimilate
Yes.
to the situation.
Yes, right. And then so as you go through high school, it's still finding this who you are, and
Identification.
who, what do you represent, and going into the military and the Marine Corps, that kind of helped me find like myself, really find myself, to kind of figure out like how strong I was mentally, physically, and stuff like that. And then as I got older, something just grew inside of me where I wanted more of my culture, my people,
It was after. It was after. Was it after? It was after school. After the military. What was
after the military.
after the
I probably say
military?
like 27, somewhere between 27 and 29. A little feeling started growing inside of me, and I started talking about it more and more. Like, I want to go back home. I want to go back home. And yeah, so by like 39, 40, I finally get back home, and I was planning to stay there for like 6 months to a year, but then COVID started, and then I ended up staying there for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Um,
how was COVID in your neck of the woods? How was it promoted? What were you supposed to do? What was the vibe?
well, definitely in Belize, you couldn't come to, they locked down towns,
Certain towns
certain towns when it got really hot. Like if they said that the data was in and this town was hot and there was a lot of people in it that had COVID, then the town was locked down, and so you couldn't get out of the town.
couldn't get into the town or
Yeah,
out of
but
the town.
like fire trucks and food trucks and stuff like that could come in and deliver and stuff like that.
But they have to have the ET whole hazmat shit on
Well, I
some
don't know if they
bullshit.
had the hazmat in Belize, but definitely they had their gloves and the mask and
Oh,
stuff
okay,
like that.
okay.
And um, but I would definitely say that I know that up in the mountains of Belize, by the San Antonio area, they had a lot of beautiful people in San Antonio. I feel like they're descendants of the Mayans, because they're very
San Antonio.
yeah, San
So,
Antonio, Belize. It's like right near Cayo region, which is close to Guatemala,
okay,
right?
okay.
And so they were growing what they would consider the cure for COVID. And I remember that because when I took a hike up in the area, in the mountain area, we passed by some old Mayan ruins, like Mayan huts where they were growing stuff and medicine, and you could see where people used to live there, and very culturally amazing to me, right? And then the tour guide was there with an older lady, and she's probably like in her late 50s, and she was like, and I seen it, said C C19, and I was like, what does that mean? She's like, oh, it's COVID-19. She's like, this is the cure for COVID-19. And
And what year? When was this? 2020?
21,
2021?
yeah,
She told you blatantly that was a cure for something that
yeah.
is rampaging the world, but it never got past that?
You know why?
Or you never heard nothing else out
No,
of
no,
it?
no. Like, so when I mean like cure, I mean like, hey, you take this, you're gonna go through your motions of it, and you're gonna be okay.
Or did she mean it as a cure, as it being a vaccine for it?
Kind of like that,
Oh, okay. All
right?
right.
But
So,
still, in the essence of
because
it,
cure is a whole different
I,
word, bro.
I would say this, and I could be wrong. I think she meant it more as a cure. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I remember we were hiking down the hill, and I had a toothache, and I let them know that from before because we were just talking about it because I was frowning about something because my tooth was hurting me. And she says, "Hold on," and we were passing by some trees, and she plucked something from the tree, and she was like, "Here, take this." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "Grind it up in your hand and put it there." Right. And so I did it, and it was like a Novocaine.
Okay.
And the
Numbed it.
fact that she could pull that out, and then the other
Yeah,
guy was
some
like, "Oh
natural.
yeah,"
Yeah, that's what
So
all the medicines. They said the best medicine. The best hospital is your kitchen, and all the medicines is on the earth. That you just got to know which ones is which,
right,
and what to do with it. You
right,
know what I
right,
mean? But
right.
most people don't. and most people are just used to having someone with credentials to tell them this is what you got to take. We don't research it. We just assume and we hope that the person that tells us knows what he's talking about or she knows what she's talking about, and that's how we go about
Right.
things. You know. But yeah. They say, "Oh, vaccines! Your baby has to have vaccines." What about all the babies that was born without any of these vaccines ever existing before? Were they gonna die from like randomly? If you ever think of like all the ancestors, what the ancestors had to go through, just because they didn't have all these medicines didn't mean that their kid was going through this. And then I think that shit is giving them autism and all types of other situations they're going through at an early age.
You know, I personally think that when it started, this is my personal opinion,
It's all personal opinions
that
here.
when yes, we were able to go through things without a vaccine before. I believe that the intent for a vaccine, carefully the word I say, intent for a vaccine was to minimize the numbers that fell to a virus. So let's say if 50,000 people fell to it where we were in a non-vaccine era, the intent of vaccines were to minimize that by 5,000, by 10,000, right? That was the intent. Do I believe that we live in a society where we make money from um, anything that we can create? Yes. So do I believe that there
Putting the
are
bandage,
people?
but putting the bandage on the
Yes,
leak and expecting that to heal
yes.
it.
The
Yes,
more people that are sick, the more
more money.
money that is created
The
to create
money
vaccines
is
and
not
stuff
in the
like that.
cure. The money's in the comeback.
Yeah.
That's
So,
just how it
you
goes.
know,
If they really wanted to get rid, like, listen, this is how I learned this years ago when I was a kid. I learned who you remember polio is a big disease or a big thing, right?
yeah,
And this is like in the 50s. And they trying to figure out what's good with polio, what's up with polio. So there was this dude, the dude that cured polio. He cured polio and didn't get no profit from it. When he cured polio, they came to him like, "Yo, why you didn't do all this to get the profit off it?" And we try to, get the
right,
money going. It's like, nah, I want the. It was a sickness. I wanted to get rid of it.
right.
After that, you never heard of nobody else doing that. They stopped that. They stopped. You're not just going to do the right thing just because you have a good heart.
Now, you know what's crazy? Now, my math might be off by a decade or two, but if you look back in time, like
Keep on.
we've had like three great like viruses that has come out, right?
Three great
And
ones.
like uh, the Black Plague as one.
What was
You
it?
know,
Oh, do we know what the actual Black Plague was? I hear it more as it was just
I don't have
a disease. Well,
there,
what was
there
it?
are answers to it. I can't tell you off the top of
Was
my
the White
head.
Plague what it really was? The White Plague, meaning their sickness inflicted on
So
themselves?
then you had the Spanish flu, right? And so supposedly they say they called it the Spanish flu because we were in a world war at the time, and Spain was the only country that was not involved in the war. So
So everybody,
to not anger another country, to blame game to make the war worse, there was a
so
virus
y'all
out.
good and we not. So I'm gonna name it
That's what they say.
because so they gave the sickness to everybody else. They used to call AIDS the fucking gay cancer, cancer for gay people.
Yes,
That's what they used to call it.
and I think that
That
is
don't make it.
because at the time,
Only
which
they were
which
coming
this is
down with
like the early 80s,
late 70s, early
late
80s,
70s,
early
early
80s.
80s.
Yeah,
At the
yeah.
time,
They were the main
um,
people have
they
coming
were
down
the
with
main
this.
people getting it, not because of. And I think this was the thing. I don't think it was really just because of their sexual conduct, but it was also from the needle sharing as well.
Well, needle sharing is more in scope with fiends, and
Right.
that could be on both sides.
Yes.
It was more, and
The
this is the
nightclub.
time for it was more of the bathhouses and sexual encounters with them.
Yes.
And then, pardon me, they said when it crossed over, for the most part, it was
Right.
mostly with the needle sharing.
Right.
That's what they were saying. But whatever the case may be. Just because they name it something that, I didn't know where Spanish flu came from. Like, I didn't know that was why they called it that.
Right.
But
That's what they
fucked
said.
up.
Yeah. Like, like it's, well, I guess they deemed it at the time like, hey, it just makes better sense for them to take the blame, take the L for
They
it.
give they give African, they give, I'll say black people Africans, but they give Africans Ebola. They give Africa what? Then they had the SARS thing was with China or Asia. I don't know which part, but it was Asia.
I mean, like, we talk about these things, but we've normalized chickenpox.
Chickenpox don't exist anymore. I don't think.
Well, some people still get it.
I want to know who. They might be the regular people because now who gets chickenpox?
But you see, it's the thing.
Who gets the measles?
I truly.
What happened to wingworms?
Wingworms
in your head. What happened to that?
That
was a big thing in the 80s and some of the 90s. Yo.
But I think that's just time, right? Like, so we've learned that barbers have learned to clean their clippers better.
Okay, so that's wingworm. So,
right? That's just dirt from the clippers. You're not cleaning the clippers good, and then you have
okay. So, but all the other random diseases that we would get, or I guess all the new vaccines that they've been, because I've heard there's way more vaccines they give kids now than before. I never, man, listen, I ducked as many needles as possible.
I feel like we went from a time where we were trying to figure out 5 to 10 diseases and come up with a cure and a vaccine and something to prepare for it.
Need more water?
Now, now, we're in a prevented stage where no longer we're just reacting to the stuff that's happening around us. We're actively trying to predict the next things that are coming and creating vaccines and things for those things. So it's like, instead of something
Minority Report with vaccines. That's basically kind of what
I feel like that way.
Well, with medicine, let's keep it, because I think it's just in generally whatever they consider medicine today. Yeah. But are they going to force you to do it? Anytime they force anybody to take a drug and it's free, I'm going to look at it sideways.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
I told someone before, though, I says, people might not like to hear this, but, you work at a job, you are the employee of a job casts some rules. They want to keep you there because you help them make money. I believe for any government.
Not necessarily. They don't necessarily want you.
They want a worker.
They need someone there to fill that spot.
Right.
You are obsolete as a worker. No disrespect, because you can be interchanged.
Right. But they need a worker.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you're not going to do it,
the bottom line can be made. The budget goal can be made every month. The less workers they have, the harder it is for them to hit that goal.
Got you.
Right? So for the government, it's the same thing. Well, if too many of you are not here, we don't collect the same amount of money for taxes, which now decreases how much we can spend per year, per month.
Got you.
Right? So I said to someone before, they're all into playing the big daddy role of, hey, no, you got to take this. Not because I truly care for you to exist, but too many of you not being here will cause an issue. We won't make enough. We won't tax enough. So at a certain point, it is a corporational standpoint to say, hey, no, we need 150 million of them alive at minimum for us to maintain the government.
At minimum.
Right?
To me, it's gonna go down. That's what you're telling me.
So it's like, you have to take this.
I was always a type of person, when I travel everywhere, I overpack, just because I'm the type of person that thinks, damn, I might need this, even though I might not need it.
Right.
But I'm just that way. They're trying to cut it close.
Right. and it makes sense because,
the dollar.
Once again, there is X amount of materials on the planet: gold, silver, bronze, right? We know we're in an inflationary system where they're just creating money out of left field. Well, you can't do that for a long period of time because of the rules that they created on how money is made and what that means when too much money is getting printed compared to what is exactly existing.
And how can you overprint from like I obviously have a budgetary limit,
Right.
but it's still an open printer. Like we're just printing this out.
So, okay, just like when we were getting those checks in COVID, people weren't working. So when people don't work, they don't make it to the grocery store. They don't make it to their normal stops.
They got to keep that economy going.
Yes. So once again, we go back to the engine. Now the engine is slowing down.
Yeah, throw them some shit. They're gonna throw right back into the engine to keep it going. Yeah.
Right. So we
just
give
like
you this
just like
money,
taxes every year and all that shit.
We give you this money so that you can go back and spend it in the economy
and keep
revitalize the economy.
And you think you got to come up because now you back up there, and they got to come up because you
places a Band-Aid over it until we can fix the bigger issue.
And the bigger issue never gets fixed, and the Band-Aids keep coming.
Right. But I always say this is like we live in a time where yes, there are some things that are at place that make it more difficult for people of color and people of different races or religion to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
But coming from outside of the country, America is still one of, if not the greatest country when it comes to coming somewhere and making something
out of
yourself.
Yeah.
And being able to take that, go back to your country and develop it, or develop it inside of America.
It sounds like a big mall that people come and get their shit and then go and create it somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's how they.
But it's
like a port.
It's perspective, like
America is the biggest middleman in the world,
right? And so
that's funny.
It's all about making money. Trying to put yourself in the best position possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like America still is that country. You look around the world, yeah, we're at fault for many things. We're not great at so many things. But the one thing that we're good at, and this is the reason why we are the top dog, is because you can come here and change your life. It might not be easy. No one said it was going to be easy. But the opportunity to do
But that's how they sell it too.
Yes.
That's how they sell it.
Right. And at base, is that.
Everybody that's come on this show that's from a different country always said that, they promoted it like, if you move to America, you're going to be a millionaire. You're going to be rich. You're going to be famous. Did you see that the same way before you got here?
So for my family, because I didn't make that decision, I was young. Okay. My parents made that decision. But for my parents, yeah, we were living inside of a small little, probably 2 times the size of this studio space, right? And then we had an outhouse in the back where you use the bathroom in the outhouse. And so there's like 4 or 5 kids, my mom, my dad, and so their idea is, at the time Reagan was president.
Oh yeah, great. There we go.
And they're promising
where all this great Americanism come from.
Right. And then don't talk bad about Reagan in front of my parents. They're like, "Oh, Mr. Reagan, we got our citizenship from Mr. Reagan."
No wonder you went on the side.
They love Reagan.
I ain't mad at them.
And so we came over here to do better, right? Because the goal was to come over here, start a life, get the kids somewhere. Me and my brother, because we were the youngest ones, get the kids somewhere to grow and not be a part of, at that time, the heavy crime. There's still crime in Belize, but it was much more heavier back then, because I feel like
in the 80s too.
Yeah, we were in the darker stages of things. Belize just became independent in 1981. So by 1985,
who was running y'all before?
It was British? England. So it was called British Honduras. Belize was called British Honduras.
So always the Brits somehow,
right?
Or the Dutch.
And they used to call around Belize the mosquito coastline because it wasn't well developed yet. So it is like maybe like 10% of Belize was developed, and it was just a lot of marshland and uncut jungle.
Kind of like what, not exactly, but kind of like what they did with Dubai, with the whole, it wasn't developed as a city, and then they made it this big brand, whatchamacallit.
Yes.
It's in that same kind of vein, but
Yes.
not like to that point,
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, and the British, they ended up using it for training grounds for their troops,
for
which
his
they still
troops.
do up to today.
I believe that.
Right?
So did you see that coming up?
A little bit of it. I remember my father and my mother. Well, more my father was working for the BDF, which is the British Defense Force in Belize. Right?
When you say shit like that, I'm sorry, but like, I think of shit like Interpol, and I think of shit like Jackie Chan movies where they have those kind of like outfits on and shit. I'm not gonna lie, like I never heard of BDF.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so
and but we were proud though, and so Belize is a small country. I don't know the exact number now, but I knew at a time within the past 5 years, it was no more than like 500, maybe 600,000 Belizeans worldwide. It could be a little bit larger now, because of tourism and population growth. But coming here, it was all about making some money, taking it back home. That's what my parents said that they were going to do. And they did that, right? They bought a house. My grandmother on my dad's side, Granny Lou passed away. And the house that she had in Belize City, my dad ended up selling that and using that as the down payment for the house in Teaneck on Hamilton Road.
Oh, okay.
Right? And then my dad bought that, my brother and
they still have that, right?
No, we got rid of
it.
that.
Y'all got rid of it? I wasn't sure.
It was a while now.
Oh, okay.
It's been like 15 years now.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah.
I remember the last time I was there.
Yeah, so I feel like, so my parents, and this is a great example, my dad never made more than $10 an hour. My mom was working for a Jewish lady, Miss Elsie Sloat, and she was just being a homemaid, right? But they were frugal with their money. They kept living a Belizean lifestyle, even though they were in America. And they were able to sell their home, take half of that, it's like maybe $150K, take that back to Belize, spend $75,000 of that, get a land and house, which that house now is what I take care of. And then from there, they built a 2-story house, right? And so the worth of that house now and the land in that area is close to like 750,000 Belize, which is like 400,000 US, 375.
So just about a half a mil.
But so for people, and yes, the cost of living was different, but they still were able to do that and come back home and help their kids to, each one of us now has our own home, own land somewhere, in Belize and stuff like that. So I feel like that was a success, right? So as their job is building the foundation for the next generations, they built that. So now that my nephew that's up here now, he's going into the military, into the army. And I said to him, well, you don't have to, what your grandmother, your father, what we all did, laid a foundation that when you come to America, it's not the same thing. You don't have to come and struggle and push through it.
Yeah.
Because there's a foundation of land. Hey, you just have to come work, send some money home. We'll build the houses.
That'll be it.
The money will come in. It'll influx. Right? So I think to round this around, America is a good place to come to. There's something crazy happening anywhere, but anywhere that you could come, make a podcast, get seen. I mean, like this is it.
I think is the freedoms that we have that certain other countries may not have in certain aspect, but we also it also comes with a backside to that may not be good. Like I'm saying, other countries might have victories in different lanes, more than America does in certain lanes.
Yes, yes.
That's what the difference is.
Yes, there are some countries, Switzerland's a good country, where they have gotten control of their crime rate and
there's
they rehabilitate.
No, if it's like no there's no loitering,
Yes.
there's no littering,
Yes.
it's nothing like that. It's clean cut. Everybody
But
knows.
I would definitely say to you, I do believe that has a lot to do with that size of the population, one. Two, when you get your core base people to go along with an idea, right? It's very much easier to get everyone else to go along with the idea. In America, we are a melting pot. It's kind of hard to say who is the core base group in America. In the 80s, we would definitely say that it was more the Caucasian groups.
White American.
Yeah. Right?
Oh, it's been that to a point.
As 30, 40 years of immigration influx goes on, that number starts to dwindle down. So now we have a melting pot. So it's much harder to get people of many different cultures to come to the idea to agree upon one thing. And I feel like Switzerland, because it's more their base people that are there, they could come to terms quickly. And I feel like it's also something of culture, right? Like you go to Japan and some of these other Eastern Asian countries, they're like, there's no garbage here. They place things in a certain way. But that is...
They still have what we lost. They still have morals.
Right.
They still have certain kind of, what's that thing that you learned when you went to military? Discipline.
Right.
You know what I mean? They have our morals and discipline has gone thrown out the window somewhere in the early 2000s to me, like completely out the window. Like maybe in the 2010s, it was like, we don't care about whatever, you know what I mean? Because you couldn't do certain things it was now like there's a big thing. The whole Shaq thing.
Yeah.
With, what's that name? Angel Reese.
Yeah.
You heard what he said?
No, what did he say?
All right, so this is brand new, fresh off the press.
Okay.
She has a podcast, like everybody got a podcast. She has a podcast, and he was saying, you know what would take everything in the WNBA to that point if they're able to dunk. So bring like the hoop down like a little bit. Now he's not saying a lot, but a little bit more than what it is, so they can dunk. But then he was getting in his old man creepy shit because he was like, imagine you in those little shorts that you have, you dunking this shit.
Oh man!
Now,
yeah, that'll definitely get you
some of the women are saying, "Oh, this is some creepy shit," and he's getting backlash, which is true. He
shouldn't have said that.
If he thought that, he should have kept it to himself.
Right?
You know what I mean? Let's be clear. But also, is a two-way street. She wears clothes like that on outside.
He's only projecting what he sees on a daily basis.
Yes.
Right.
Now, I would just say, hey, wear some volleyball shorts and everything else will come up.
But I can definitely understand what everyone's saying is like, yeah, that might be true, but that's not what we're speaking about. That's not the we're talking about.
He's saying, and I get him though, outside of the whole short part, if they're able to dunk, it brings highlights.
It does, but then that causes an issue. And I think the whole...
Why?
Because...
If they could regularly dunk, we wouldn't be talking about that,
right. But,
if someone could dunk out of the blue, then they're gonna change this whole...
I think it would cheapen it, really.
Why?
Because then...
Oh, to move it down, you mean?
Yes. I feel that...
Okay, I get that.
As a movement...
It's already, but isn't it already it's not at the standard, right? It's not at what the men's one is, right? Isn't the ball is smaller already?
The ball is a little bit smaller, but I do believe the rim is still at the same height.
Is that the same height?
Yes. I do believe so. I could be wrong. And hold on, I feel like
it might be. I think it's not, I don't think it's the same height.
So let me check
WNBA hoop height or whatever that might be called. Damn it. We waving. I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah, it's the same. It's 10 feet.
Oh, it's 10 feet.
Yes, it's 10
So
feet,
if they would have bring it down 9 feet, and how tall are those girls? They tall.
Yeah, I mean they're tall. I mean, but if you move it down, I feel like okay, the movement of the WNBA is to prove that women can ball, which they can. I follow
But if
Juju.
that was the case, then they would have changed the ball
Right,
itself too.
right,
If they wouldn't, if it's just they could ball,
right,
bust this. I know some women that are mechanics,
right,
right? Are you gonna make the fucking tool smaller for her?
right. No,
You're not,
no. But
right?
this is why when we had that 3-point shooting contest, Steph was facing a chick from the Liberty. It's the same size ball, and I think Steph won by like 2 shots. Right? So I like that they are earning their keep in a different way. Because at the end of the day,
So you're telling me if they,
dunking is dope, but Carmelo always says
but
this.
also also the number one thing that made me focus more on it, not saying the Carmelo thing you're about to say, hold that, is you got the one and only dude that made his career off of a dunk.
Right.
I didn't know who Shaq was till he brought the shit down and the shit blew up or whatever the hell. He made his career off of dunking. So from that, he has to know something that might bring that to it. It's a highlight that will excite everybody.
Right. But I think that is not allowing the WNBA to evolve the way it's supposed.
So you're saying just keep it the way it is, and
yes,
we'll find players that'll be able to do that.
I watch clips of female basketball players on Instagram.
You put clips on your stuff with music.
Yes. Yes.
You talk about that.
Yes. So I promote the music through basketball clips, right? And because I found out that was a thing to do.
Well, now Instagram, the thing is, if you put reels with music, it's going to generate more.
Yes, it generates more.
Yeah.
More people are watching it and they're swiping, right?
Shout out to the attention. Mic check.
Right. and so I see young women that are grabbing rim, some that are dunking. And I think this is the evolutionary state of when people went from just doing the fadeaway that Jordan and Kobe did to now we're pulling up from half court because Steph introduced that. And now you have...
Well, he's doing it on a regular basis.
Now you have Caitlin Clark pulling up from half court for the women. And she's doing it well, right? You got Juju Watkins from USC. She was a freshman, broke the scoring record for USC. You know what I'm saying? Brought her team to the Final Four for the women's college basketball. So she's in her sophomore year. You got Paige Buckets from UConn. This is her year, her senior year. She's going to be like, she could have went into the draft, but she decided to stay another year because she wanted to be the number 1 pick. You have Reese, Angel Reese, right? She's there. She has people might disagree with me, but she reminds me of Julius Randle a little bit, the way she backs up balls and spins to the rim, right? And she has that outside shot. This is all development because of the game going through the process of it over the past 10 years. In the next 10 years, I guarantee you're going to see female basketball players, not probably a high percentage, maybe like say 5% of them, that you will see them dunking, right? Just because sports science is getting better, right? So I agree with what Shaq is saying, that it probably would make it more exciting. But I'm always a fan of letting things play out the way it's supposed to. Because I feel like maybe it'll take it down a different lane that is supposed to be a lot better for what there is. And, just like I was saying, Mello from 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, his podcast, Mello says it. Like, if you
know what's funny? What's my man? Mello does 7 p.m. in Brooklyn with my man from Bodega Boys, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I seen him yesterday.
Yeah.
I seen him at the mall.
Yeah.
Seen her at the mall, and you know how you see somebody you know, but you can't figure out where.
Yeah, where you know them from? Right,
Yeah,
right,
I
right,
seen him.
right.
He looked at me. I like, you know, so I was like, "Yo, what up, face?" I gave him
Right.
that. Yeah, I was like, "Oh shit!" I didn't even, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Melo said it. Melo was like, "Oh, okay, well, if you want to see what real basketball looks like textbook basketball, you go to the WNBA because they're doing the plays the way it's supposed to. Because they don't have majority of them don't have the speed to slash to the rim and dunk. So now they have to do these plays exactly the way it is to actually get the score. Their shooting has to be better because that's their main source of scoring, right? So, nah, I mean, like, I love it, man. I love to see what's going on in the game. I love the competition. I love how Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, you know, a lot of people were saying there was racism caught up behind it. But at the end of the day, it's good for the sport. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're competitors, you know, and they were competitors in college. They're competitors now in the big leagues, right? And for women's basketball, that's everything. That's why they're packing out stadiums. That's why, and it's not going to go down. If anyone thinks that the movement is dead, then you're mistaken. You know, this is it. You know, we're on the launch pad, right? You're going to see it more in the video games. You're going to see it more in the clothing lines, right? Because we're at the influx, the peak of that movement that women have started since the single ladies joint with Beyonce, right? But I love it though because you know change is good. You know, change is good, and you can't stay still. You can't stay in the same space for too long. You know, so if anyone that don't like it, well, that's just they're just uncomfortable.
A lot of people are uncomfortable with the way everything has been going. Pardon me, I've been setting this up. I didn't mean to whatchamacallit. Just wanted to make sure this was right here. Here we go. Oh shit. Here we go. Woo. I put it on YouTube right now.
My man Kona Hamaru.
Who? Hamaru.
Yeah. You know, I always got like a hidden leaf name for my peoples.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah, that's my
Mukishi
man.
type of
Yeah, you know, like how I call you Momokishi. Part of it. I call you Momokishi. That's my boy Ahmad.
So man, there's a lot to talk about. I know I could ask you who is Murdakkh, and you'll tell me who's Murdakkh today from what he was before. You know what I mean? But also, I wanted to bring up a good friend of ours, Rich.
Right. That's my boy. Yeah.
And Rich and me, man. That episode we did, thanks to you, was real classic to me. I still have some good clips on that shit still coming up. Hopefully after the election, we'll set something up where he could come back.
Yeah.
But with everything else going on, how do you see like everything happening? Of course, it's a lot of go back and forth. So there's a lot of black on black arguments.
So, you know, I'll try to interject into it with some reason. Try to give my clearest thought on it, right? That's not reflecting any type of like showmanship that both candidates are doing to get people to vote for them, right? I do believe it is important what's happening right now. A couple things, right? You know, if Trump doesn't win, he'll be back again 4 years later because he still has an opportunity to run again. So there's that in play. Both of them have a tall task ahead of them trying to correct the economy and deal with what I think is the bigger issue, the the on-site war in Iran versus Israel.
The quote unquote might be World War III
Right,
situation that's
right,
happening now.
right.
Yeah.
And it's if you're new to politics, then you wouldn't know that big strikes don't happen during election time. And so guaranteed Joe Biden told Israel, and this is why he's probably been telling Israel to calm down and to keep it low. And he told Iran the same thing, like, hey, you can respond, but don't respond crazy, like trying to buffer the war because it'll affect the election in America. But as soon as the election is done, things will probably hit the fan, regardless of who's in charge. Right. So that will have a big thing to do with the economy, how much food costs is, you know, wheat. I think certain products went up high when Russia was facing Ukraine, which there still are. So that's those tariffs that America put in for China and
the tariffs. That's something new that I've heard that the old Donald was bringing back. Tariffs is an old way of like paying for things and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's just basically saying like, hey man, like we don't really like what you're doing over there on that side. Or let's just say like, okay, we made an initial deal where you can sell your cell phone in my country, but we're going to charge you X amount of tax when you come into the country, bringing the product in per volume. A tariff is we're upset with you about something, and now we're raising that from 4 to 8%.
So is is it an IOU with
You're
interest?
taxing them more.
Is IOU with interest?
Yes, you're taxing them more. and then if it's really bad, then you could say we're not allowing your ship to bring the cargo into the port.
Okay, so if you
and that's where it starts to get on wartime. When you start blocking ships, and stuff like that, and then it really stops money, right? But race is always a thing. Obama was in there. It's
your twin.
Yeah, my twin. Shout out to Barack.
Your twin has been causing a stir.
Shout out to Barack.
Your twin has been causing a stir. He's been out here trying to low key promote for himself to get everything moving.
I mean, because if you look at everything else, it's the Democrats are really dead in the water. Really, the Joe Biden is older, can't really be out there. It's not healthy for him. So he's just kind of playing Geppetto right now, spending the last few months puppeteering, sitting in the seat. He's doing the Professor X. Can't really.
I don't even
much.
think he's being Geppetto. Like, to be Geppetto, that means you are stringing along the situation. I don't think he's even at that point. I think they told him to sit down because it ain't rocking.
But I definitely feel that there was a point, and maybe I'm wrong timeline wise.
But how dare he use COVID to get out instead of just saying I'm going to sit out?
I remember when he had the debate versus Trump, and Trump was there, and it went bad. It went south, and CNN cut his head off on live TV. CNN was upset. They were mad. They were all talking about how it was the worst thing in the world. And so that lets me further know that there was a division at that point. There was a division between what the media wanted out of the Democrats and what the White House staff felt that he could still do it. Right. And so that's Joe Biden. That's Joe Biden saying, no, I don't care about what program you want to run. I can still do this. And over the next 2-3 weeks, it played out worse and worse. It was like the first time you ever seen Fox and CNN agree that Joe Biden was not the right
one. I mean, anybody can see that. Stevie can see it. But
but when you look at it, so Kamala, on the other hand, we don't have a basis of her. Like, we know her track record because of what they tell us to know and what we've seen a little bit, but impact is shown through massive movement. So people believe in impact, like, oh, if 100 people believe you and are out there promoting you for themselves, then you are impacting people. So I think a lot of people just haven't seen people jump up and down during the election saying how during the time of Biden being there that Kamala was excelling well.
Kamala was in the shadows.
Right.
Kamala,
So-
for the 4 years, you didn't see or knew what she was doing, which made it look more like she's just there until this dude does whatever, and
Right.
that's it.
Right.
That's what it made it look like.
And so now, but this is why Barack is out there at full steam.
But he would see,
Right.
but also, you're talking this. I know. You know what politics is. I know what politics is. Right at the end of the day. Now, to me, and it's just like what Jesse the body said. Jesse Ventura, he said it's all wrestling. So you know, at the end of the day, some of these dudes is gonna kick it and chill or do whatever the hell it is, and they're gonna give you a great show.
Yeah.
They're gonna give you a great show. The thing is now, it's kind of like the Attitude Era, where you're not sure. You know it's not real, but some of this shit is executed so well, you're not even sure anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the way they're so mad at Trump, even both times, I'm like, was he set up to do this, or was he a glitch in the matrix? Was he a monkey wrench in it to mess it up? A lot of people go on that.
I think, and this is just my thought from being a camera guy. Yeah. Remember, that one doesn't catch you too good on the side.
Oh,
Camera. Yeah.
I'm here. You're gonna catch me. Catch me up.
I don't think he was supposed to be there. I don't think he was supposed to be there, really. I think he was supposed to be a distraction to help Hillary win.
Also, he was also a distraction when they would, when he was being used or he was playing against Obama, right?
Yeah. So I feel like they thought that when they,
I think it was a surprise to them,
because you got to understand something. From what I remember, it was the Clintons that really encouraged him into running, right?
Really?
Because he was a Democrat before.
Yeah, he was a Democrat. When he did all the quote unquote racist stuff to black folk, he was still a Democrat.
Yeah, he was a Democrat, right?
Or whatever.
So he was, at a time, his daughter and Chelsea Clinton, Hillary Clinton's daughter, were close friends.
Oh, interesting.
Right? And, he said it on a talk show host. He says, hey, if I ever was going to run for president, I'll be a Republican.
Because they look like
it's easier to win.
Yeah.
And so he went up there and was himself.
The one thing that politics are hardly themselves. That's one of the main reasons.
And I think most of the people thought that society would have frowned on it, probably enjoyed it for the first round or two.
Mm-hmm.
But when we got to the end, they would have been like, no, we need this because we've been trained to want this.
Mm-hmm.
And then he won. And then I think one of the bigger things that went wrong was, I felt like Hillary should have came out. She never came out to congratulate when she lost. And that kind of set a bad tone from that point forward, that it was a bitterness about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of us being, well, he won.
Yeah, he won.
Right? And I think that just like we're in an era of change, the internet is here. We don't have big, cameras no more. We can do it on phones. AI is here. People want change. People don't want to carry the same old things through a new timeline.
Okay, but what change do you want? Wait, let's be clear. Do we want change? Do we want the change we just went through?
I think people...
Do we want the change that supposedly Trump brought? Because everybody talks about what changes he brought when they talk about, when they vouch for him, they're talking about the shit that was going on when he was in the presidency.
I feel
even though it's all Congress based.
So his issues are brought to street right in front of you. You see it. You see the scenarios in the courthouse and stuff like that, what he's been charged with. And I truly believe, 99% of all that stuff was probably done. What he is saying is, well, yeah, this stuff could be true, but they do the same thing. They just so they're projecting Trump to be a criminal.
Yeah, and there's criminals on both sides.
And he's projecting that, no, there's criminals on both sides.
Yeah.
So if you're going to
Which
frame
is-
me, then you should frame yourself.
I understand that.
And that way of looking at it makes people feel this old saying of, yeah, he's probably a shitbag, but he's an honest shitbag.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I like an honest shitbag.
Right.
Like, because, listen, I like an honest, because at least you know that's a shitbag. He's going to be across the street when I
Right.
walk by.
Right.
I'm not going to go up to him, but that's where he is. Not saying nothing personally about him, but I'm saying generally. Like, when I tell everybody, I was like, he's going to be the same. Whether he knows you or not, he's going to act like he knows you. Hey, Luke, hey, what's going on? Yeah, great job, man. You know what I mean? He's going to do that to everybody. So you're going to get that from him.
I do, listen.
You might not get that from other people.
I always say this, right? The people that are successful in the world, your president does change some factors and things that happen to you. You know, his decisions can change whether we go to war and how that impacts the economy and things like that. Those decisions, which can impact how much work you have available just in case you lose your job, and how much the box of Kraft cheese costs, right? Which impacts how you feed your family, right? And that's what your president does. Your local elections handle more the stuff that's happening in front of you on a daily basis. The fixing of the streets, the sheriffs that are elected that drive behind you and pull you over. That stuff right there. That stuff impacts you more, right? No matter who wins, I think it's as a country, we have to take care of ourselves, right? We have to start from there, right? I think a lot of this is a blame game of when things go wrong, who are we pointing the fingers at? But the thing is, we need to fix things. And I can't control the outcome. I can vote and put my best effort in, but I can't control the outcome of what happens. What I can control is how much I save. And that's where the Caribbean side of me comes in, because we come from a country in Belize where we don't have tax returns. We don't have like a Section 8 program. We don't have things that we have government assistance in essence of like, hey, you need 6 months of grocery money for food, or they're giving out food. But we have that in America.
Do you have, as a country, because this is something I heard about different countries, are there any considered poor people or homeless people? So are they homeless?
Yeah, we do have homeless people in Belize. I'm not positive, but I
heard
believe
certain places is illegal to be homeless.
I believe that that's a lot of deportees, people that were in America and got deported back, but they came to America very young and
they don't
got
have no
deported
family
at 40, and then now you're back in Belize, but you haven't lived in Belize in 40 years.
Yeah,
so you don't know no one. It's like a distant
What about
country.
family? No family?
There might be, but it depends
if they
once
died
again
off.
if they died out, if they're there, or if they're all still in America. Most people don't go back home to live until it's like 65 to collect their social, like my parents, my brother. Then they go back to Belize, and then their social gets sent to them back in Belize, and they pick it up at the bank.
Okay.
Right? So there are homeless people. Yeah, we do have issues, but like in my country, there are papaya fruits, there are coconuts growing, and
there's food here.
there's food around. There's people struggling, but as a community, we do our best to try to make sure if we know them or we think that they're decent people, we feed people.
Yeah.
Like Belizeans are very much about making sure that you're okay.
Everybody is around,
like you're okay.
Yeah.
Crime in Belize is direct crime. Like if you shot my brother, I'm shooting your brother. It's not, well, I just woke up today and I'm just going to go shoot down this school for no damn reason.
Well,
or because I'm going through something.
Maybe that's a brown thing that we have, and that's not like.
And when life is hard, you grow up learning life is hard. And you develop the things inside of you to deal with that. Right? And when you look at a first world country like America, you have something to look forward to for life to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And hope is something that probably changes the game of the crime rate. When people have hope, they don't rob the store.
Mm-hmm.
They get back up, go work in the morning, and hope that the hours that they put in will develop them a check and a plan to go do what they have to do.
Mm.
When people lack faith, I used to always say it's like faith and doubt work hand in hand. If you have faith, then you must have doubt. If you have doubt, then you must have faith.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you're in a second to third world country and you see that there's an opportunity to go forward,
Mm-hmm.
you push more. When you're already in a first world country living in what could be probably one of the top 10 neighborhoods in America, the the weight of that sometimes for
It's a
someone
lot.
growing up, it's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you have the latest things? Do you have, remember we were just talking about this, do you have this? Do you have that? Kids are very cruel when they're kids.
We're raised and born in this consumerized world that if you, especially as black and brown people, we look for namesake as oh, you're official, I have to be down with you type
Yeah.
shit. Where in your country or any other country, it might not be looked upon that. Like,
It's a good example here. We, in America, you get a social security card, right?
I got a job interview and I need to find
Right. You need to find it, right? And to someone like coming from Belize or Mexico or Colombia or just coming through the trade route,
Mhm.
they're risking deportation, being killed by gangs, starvation,
Mhm.
to come here to get access to get that same social
Mhm.
so that they can work.
Mhm.
People that are born here,
Yeah,
that are born with
the
it.
social. The funny thing is I understand. It's funny thing because in my mind, like the Social Security was made in a time as debt,
Yes.
set up for debt.
Yes.
So it's like, but you're going, y'all outsiders are put to the point where they have to get that,
Yes.
so it can work for them.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
If we have that, then we can work and feel safe and not have to worry about immigration knocking our door down.
But that's the main thing, right?
That's the main thing.
If not immigration,
you get a green card.
Yeah.
You get a green card.
Yeah.
Right? And then after the green card, you might get like a 2 or 5 year green card. Then 10 years later, you apply for a U.S. citizenship.
Got you.
And then if you pass that, when you apply for U.S. citizenship, then you're fully in the country.
Mhm.
Right? But the green card could work. You'll have the social and the green card, right?
Oh, okay.
But, it means you don't have to look behind your back. You can get up and walk and work and feel safe, and start dealing with the normal now problems in America. Instead of dealing with America's problems, bills, rent, and then still wondering, damn, they raided old boy's house down the street. It was immigration. Shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You clear one set of problems, now go deal with the normal set of problems that the Americans are dealing with. Right?
Well,
or another country, because this could be like you're going to England, or the people in Guatemala that come to Belize to work, right?
Okay.
Anywhere you can go that there is a better way of life, people risk it all to go there.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So how is it being? How long you been in the Air Force?
So I'm in the airline industry for about
2 years,
2.5 years.
Okay.
2.5 years. And I love the fact that I can travel and see different cultures. That's the biggest thing for me, getting around. And because I feel like there's no greater answer for most of the things that are happening until you see how people live. And you find, you leave, you come back, and if you're having a bad day, or like, let's just say like, oh, I only saved $150 from this paycheck. I wanted to do some things. Now I can't really do it because I got to pinch it.
Yeah.
And then you go to another country and see people pinching $30. And so it kind of gives you this perspective of, oh man,
It's not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, like,
well, that's another thing that America makes you see with other countries. Like, it's not as bad as what you think it is. It's only bad in the Americanized way of thought.
Yeah.
But and the Americanized way of thought is we live in the whole world anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why it's seen that way.
You know, I definitely love traveling. Yeah, like I love traveling. I love showing up.
Just popping up.
Yeah. Like I have a good friend of mine's, Fabiana. This is the epitome of being in the airline business. Her and my friend Rolando, they were he wanted to go food shopping. And so I heard them talking about this. In my head, I'm like, okay, well,
the grocery store is a decision now.
Yeah,
it's a big decision.
He wanted cheese and some pasta because he wanted to make like a lasagna type meal. So they went food shopping, but for a 48-hour trip, they flew to Madrid, Spain to go to the supermarket to buy the materials, and then they brought the materials back with them. And
did they have this flight already was this already set up?
Oh no, so airline employees, we all fly standby.
Yeah, it was a standby.
Yeah, so they just looked at the availability for the next morning and it was available. And so
even to get back?
Yeah, it was available. There's certain times of the year, slow season.
Niggas use the airplane like a bus.
Yes.
I'm gonna go to the store.
It's like
in Madrid. Let me go to the store in Madrid real quick. Get that pure, authorized, like it's real food.
Yeah. Nah, but it's dope, and I feel like it just broadened my my aspects of life, how I look at life, and just being able to. If anyone could travel, I would tell them travel. You know how that is. You know what I'm saying? You never used to travel so much, and now you travel now, and you see for yourself what that does for your psyche, what that does for your emotions, how it empowers you to be better,
and it opens your mind up to everywhere else other than what you're used to.
Yes,
you get that good oxygen.
Yes.
The time goes slower when you're out, when you're moving in different countries.
You have time to really think. When you're in America, things are moving so fast.
Yeah, it's clustered.
Moving so
Everything
fast.
is like
you don't have time to really digest the things that are going on.
Yeah.
And when you travel, you have that time to reflect and say, "Damn, like my homegirl Melissa, she has her place, the Rusty Blue, and up in the ceiling it says refresh and renew." Right?
Every time, refresh and renew.
And so that's life, the refresh and renew. And I always say this to people, like, if you don't prioritize yourself and how you feel and give yourself realistic goals. Everyone says, come up, get an apartment, get a house, get a wife, get some kids, get a 401k, retire, die.
Pretty much.
Right?
In that order or any other order you want to change that into.
Pretty much. And so now it's kind of like, okay, well, no, what about
seeing the world,
traveling, and
expanding your mind.
You are only going to be that guy or girl
for whatever years
when you are capable of understanding how people move and how things work, right? And if you stay on the Ferris wheel, the rat chase, you can stay there and make a little bit of money and live. If that is the life you want to live, then go ahead and live it. But it's not for me. You know what I'm saying? I know I enjoy seeing different cultures, eating different food, meeting different joints. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this guy's
different joints.
Nigga, your job, you get to wear your nice navy blue suit or whatever suit you got on.
Yeah.
Fresh haircut and stuff, looking like Obama trying to save Kamala out here.
Yeah. Right now, I was joking with one of the guys at my job, and he said, yo, Doc, it's wintertime. You know what I'm saying? We got to get a little joint for the winter. I said, yeah. I says I'm on full Winter Soldier mode right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm definitely trying to get the
comfortability
yeah,
going on.
yeah. I want all the Caucasian joints right now.
Oh,
Straight Winter Soldier time right now.
with the arm?
Yeah.
With the arm, what you gonna do? You gotta go back to Africa to Wakanda and re-up? Then go out for
That's
Winter Soldier.
yeah, no, they're talking about you see the video of Tyrese Halliburton and 50 Cent's got elected to Las Vegas for the that thing where they perform, right? And they pay you for that, right?
Oh yeah,
So Vegas,
the Vegas thing that Usher
yeah.
was doing. I got
And
you.
Tyrese Halliburton from the Indiana Pacer had 3 white joints in his house, and he just came back from the club 2 a.m. So he's got his shirt off, and he's got the 3 white joints. He said, "Yo, 50, I just want to say congratulations to you, brother." You know what I mean? And the 3 joints are next to him like this. And someone in the comments say, "Yo, my man love white joints. He went full Winter Soldier."
Said Winter Soldier and the Snow Bunnies. That's the next one. That's Iron Man Part 8 or some dope shit.
I mean, listen, man. I feel like you have to enjoy life. And as long as you can do that without hurting someone or inflicting your own crazy on people, it's all right to have your own opinion. It's all right to feel the way you want to feel.
Yeah.
But you just have to know, like, my job isn't to change the world, to force people to think something that I believe in. My job is to live.
Why are we at that point where now everybody, like, I always thought about, like, even now is like, I'm a person that I could do my own thing, right, by myself and not involve nobody else and put it out to the world. It's going to bother somebody.
Right.
And I always was like, well, why does that? It has nothing to do with you. I'm not on your timing, right?
Yeah.
I'm not promoting whatever you got going on. This is my shit. So why me being me is upsetting you?
It's just, everyone lives in their own illusion. Everyone lives in their own world that they create that is the safest space for them to be the best individual that they think they are. Right. And when someone says something that affects you, it's because you haven't looked down deep inside of yourself to see why it affects you. Right. And so, someone says something about, this person is racist towards this next person, or makes a racist statement. It affects you because you don't like the way that statement sounds.
It's emotional.
It was emotional. You're brought up differently, right?
Yeah.
And so we create this illusion of life that we live in, and we go by this, right? And when people disrupt this, it affects us because most human beings don't like change, right? And if you disrupt someone's knowledge, let's just say you're saying something, that your parents taught you, that your culture lived by.
But other people don't like it.
Right. And then someone makes a statement that could be true, that this thing is debunked and this is the truth right now. Because I always say this to people.
That's me. I do. I tell you it's debunked.
Science. You have to use your common sense to understand that the things that are being said that exist or don't exist, or that we're finding, or theories and things like that, these things are ever changing.
You're going into a bigger picture, but I'm just saying, generally speaking,
right?
People just go against what they disagree with being what they think is being right. And then another thing is people don't like being wrong, which is the absolute dumbest shit I don't understand, because it took me a while, but it's like everyone's wrong at a point in time in life. This happens. Being wrong is not a bad thing. It's to help you figure out how not to be that again in order to learn from it.
It's just education, right?
Yeah.
Like, but that has a lot to do with your self-worth. Like, are you that person? Like, I could be wrong, and it doesn't bother me that I'm wrong. Like,
it might bother the other person.
Yeah, like you see me today on the pod. there's certain questions I couldn't answer.
Mm.
And let me just look at my phone real quick. Someone say, oh, you should know, Murdakkh, what the hype for the WNBA ring. You post basketball videos. You should know that. I don't.
My question is, the person that said you should know, why aren't you saying it if you know?
Right, but
You know though, right?
I feel like
why we don't all know everything.
We don't. And how comfortable you are
in being that.
In accepting loss. Some people are just not comfortable with that. And so I know that my life is not going to change drastically if I lose an argument. If I don't go to work, my life will change.
But not if you lose an argument.
But if I lose, my life's not going to change. You know what I'm saying? Like, my life's not going to change, right?
Unless you get paid for winning arguments.
Right. And so, but that comes to patience, stillness.
Well, some people, especially now because everything's online, they make their living off of what they say.
Right.
So to go against what they say becomes an issue. And that's when you come into the whole what's theorized and what's not and da-da-da-da-da. If you want me, listen, I could end all this stuff. Whether you believe in whatever you want to believe or not, the number one reason why most people disagree with what might make more sense than what you think it is ridicule.
Yeah.
It's just ridicule. If I could bring up all the evidence to back up what I'm talking about, and you can't bring up any evidence, or your evidence or whatever you say is evidence is you calling me names, you pointing your fingers, you like, you know what I mean, add homonyms and all this shit that you can't explain, but you're just trying to make me look bad, then why are we doing?
These are people that they're not experts on anything, but they're followers for everything.
This is true.
Right. But that's that's most of the world, right? Because like I says,
no one wants to be.
Most people are getting up, taking a shower, having breakfast, going to work, and they have a routine.
Yeah.
So the bits of information they get are on the drive, at home, at lunch,
and whatever they think they know is
what they think they know.
Yeah.
And now, to be a part of the society, you have to be knowing of what's going on. So you start to talk about what you think you know. And then you run into someone that
completely
has more time in the day to research the thing and debunk you in front of your friends, right? And now you're angry with them because you have gotten knowledge. And it's not to say that your knowledge is incorrect,
or that we're just completely dismissing it,
right?
Because your knowledge might be something that I was holding up too, but I figured out something else.
Right.
That's all it is.
Right.
It's just expanding.
Like someone to say, your knowledge is the top layer of the cake. I've had time to study and dig down to the bottom. Your knowledge is true, but there's a whole other section
that
has to happen before we get to that.
You're right.
So there is this, so people, it's difficult. It's difficult for people to, they'll bash you. They'll say, oh, F this, da-da-da-da. And, we live in a time now where everyone has the opportunity to say something. The internet's here.
Everybody is.
You ever hear it? Oh, the internet struck again. Oh, I can't believe the internet does that.
The internet's always striking.
Yeah.
It's just, I've had my time going back and forth with people online. And I tell you, I had my little bit of fun with long ass big paragraphs in the all caps so everyone could see it. If you have a problem with me and my all caps, I do that on purpose. So you have to pay attention to it.
Right.
Do you not understand this whole attention thing I got going on? It's attention. Whether you want to, I'm not screaming in the comments because people be like, "Why are you screaming?" I'm not. I'm typing. Like my thumbs.
Yeah, because people look at all caps as screaming when you're mad, So it's a shot. It's a sign.
No, I just want you to see even all my punctuations, all my mess up, everything I mess up with, because if they can't argue with you about your point, they'll argue about your spelling. They'll argue about
right. Because the people have finally have a voice.
I'm not
that you'll get those, and then you'll get people like, oh, it was a good video. Oh, yo, I like the topic.
Yeah.
But someone has to say something negative because they're trying to stand out. Hey, maybe I might get the pin comment. I know a dude that always pins the worst comment about him to the top of his thing.
I believe that.
Because he's driving that conversation more to get people to say, yeah, that person's right. You suck.
So what happens when the object of whatever, I guess, trolling or just people bad commenting is to get your attention?
Yes.
If I get your attention, I done won. I remember one of the dudes I disagreed with, who's highly known on another podcast, and I know through other people back in the day when I was going to open mics and shit. I disagreed with him over his take on certain people saying King Von was a serial killer and putting that whole thing out there. And my argument was, are you mad at this guy because he's some little guy that's white across in UK and he's talking about this, but you're not getting mad at any of the newscasters that it's their job to broadcast whatever is told to them, and they're going to do it and not care at all. At least the dude that's doing it, whether you take it for what it is, he cares enough to put all the details in there.
Yes.
And asking the question.
Yes.
But the reporters that do it, that's their job. They're just going to do it. My thing is, if you're going to get at one of them, just like you said before, get at all of them. That was my
right.
He wanted to go back and forth.
Right.
I was like, I made my point, and I'm not going to go back and forth on your platform, Negro. Come to my platform if you want to do that.
Right. I mean, listen, man. It's just like the people that vote. You got like 400 million Americans. But when you look at the registered votes, it only goes up to about, say, 202 million people voted. So half the country never votes. Half the country that's that independent vote you always hear them talking about. They're trying to reach the independent vote. The 200 other million people that don't vote, that number fluctuates every 4 years. Who votes and who doesn't out of that?
Well, I've heard this new thing, like if people say that people that say don't vote, because I've been a person that was like, well, listen, man, I really think as a black people, we need our own something. But nobody wants to go onto that. They want to just either go right or left. So I'm like, all right, cool. But now they're saying that if you don't vote, like, not like you don't have any say at all, but it's like kind of down putting the people that don't vote at all. Like saying not to vote is a bad thing, to tell other people not to vote.
Well, okay.
If you're not sure.
So also understand. So I feel like this, right? You have to look. If you are a person voting for Kamala, then you probably like the idea that she say first time home buyers she'll get you $25,000 for first time home buying, right? If you are a home buyer right now and you want to buy a house and the market's bad and you're listening to her and that seems well for you,
that seems like
then
it's going to catch
you should vote.
Yeah,
because it's going to affect you. Right?
Got you.
We could worry about the
what comes back.
Yeah, we could worry about bigger issues, but you're voting basically because what the person is saying that they're going to provide.
Got you.
You hope that they actually provide it, and you vote for them because you want them to provide what you want, the thing that they're saying, right? So I think you should vote if you agree with what your candidate or one of the two candidates are saying. And I do not believe you should vote just because someone tells you to vote because, well, he is a criminal. Don't vote for him. She is not black. Don't vote for her. No. If I like what she is saying or he is saying, then I'm going to vote for them.
What did you say? What is Trump promoting that would get somebody wanting to vote for him?
So like Trump is more about fiscalizing and the amount of money we're spending. This is the same thing as what he did in the first term.
Okay.
Now there's all this Project 25 time stuff.
I know that. I know that's
right.
just a yearly shit that everybody's hung up on. It's been.
But the overall goal is to cut costs.
Mhm.
The overall goal is to cut costs. It might be in some areas that
Someone like my mother, because she doesn't like him anyway, but she'd be like, "Well, he's gonna get rid of what was he trying to say he was gonna get rid of exactly? The whatchamacallit money that a lot of the elderly people get,
Social Security,
Social Security and shit like that. Is that for everyone or is that for a specific person?
I would believe
That's
that. I think that is for a certain age group, right? So I'm going to say this, right? You know, and this country is a working machine. It's a LLC. It's a C corp.
corporation.
It's a corporation.
Yeah, I know that much. And these are supposed to be the heads of the corporation.
There people might not like this statement, but I'm always pro you doing the best for yourself to set yourself up for the time that you're going to be here, right? Whether that is your lifetime living in America or you go live somewhere else, but you have to set yourself up correctly. There have been many bad presidents, many good presidents, and guess what? Life still has to go on.
Yeah.
People still have to find a way to save, spend right,
and figure their own shit
and
out.
figure it out, and figure it out. Because what could end up happening is your life cannot progress well, and then you end up blaming it on the laws that are being passed. But that's just kind of you not really looking deep down inside to see, there were some laws that were passed that probably could have affected you, but we came from slavery and we found a way out of that, you know? So we've come far. And no matter what is passed on either side, we have to remember how far we've come. And
I think you talking about as a people, or you talking about as America, or you talking about as black
America?
Folk? Okay, as America.
Yeah, we've come far from it.
If you're talking about black folk, then I would say that we have assimilated into America to the point where we have completely lost our own identification as a community or a self-owned culture, because we create culture that is American culture for everybody else. And the funny thing that you say that, no, funny thing that I say that the whole thing kind of makes sense, because and I agree that she's an Indian woman, but when she says, remember I used to call her Pamela?
Yeah.
I used to call her Pamela when she first made Vice Pamela.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm not calling her Kamala or whatever. But when she said, I'm not just going to do nothing for black folks, I'm going to do something for everybody. And then it hit a note. I was like, that's how they all see black folk. They all see us like, yeah, we're going to do something for black people, but it's going to be for everybody.
Right.
Even when it's like Black Lives Matter, no, all lives matter.
Right.
You know what I mean? It comes from where we originate the situation and it spreads out.
Right.
With the Asian community, it's not specifically that way.
Right.
When Bruce Lee came into play and he was like, I want to teach everybody, yeah, he had an issue with the people saying, yo, I don't want you to make it for Americans.
Yeah.
They had a tight culture with that shit. They wanted to make sure they kept it to themselves. That's what every other culture does, and every other race or culture does. Our culture is Americanized, so it becomes for everybody. But our community are little like pockets. We have a community here, a community here. But when it gets to like really coming together, we have an issue.
Nah, I think so. Like, identity is important.
Yeah.
Right? And knowing who you are is huge. And so our culture from before was slavery. We were enslaved as black people. Right? And now sometimes it feels to me like almost like, when you escape the most horrific thing in the world, you just want to take some time to just get your mind together.
Yeah.
And not deal with anything.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're still in that phase of where we are that demon, that shadow is still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
But I would also say, just like anything else, someone like Kai Cenat, young black guy, just doing a pod.
No, that nigga got famous for letting niggas spend a night over his house.
Right.
And streaming it.
Right. But what I'm trying to say to you is this:
Where the fuck was my mind at?
he did it.
Yeah, I'm not knocking him.
Right.
Smart. Crazy.
Smart.
Yeah.
Creative.
I think he just signed a deal with something new coming up now.
Creative.
Yeah. It's the same thing.
You can make it, but you can make it.
Yeah.
Right? And so now
you was here. Listen, how many times have I used this one room for multiple things? Yes. Video shoots, podcasts, photo shoots, fucking anything that I could think of, I'm gonna use it to generate something new out of it. Bring some kind of new relevancy to it. You know what I mean? Yes. That's exactly what I'm.
I think it's just how you see your life, man. Like these elections are very important. You know, getting back to your first statement, you should definitely vote if you want to. If you don't want to vote, then don't vote. Guess what? It's America. The Constitution states says you have the right to do whatever the hell you want to do, especially if it's not harming anyone. You have the right to do anything you want to do.
People are acting like it is.
Right.
That's my
but they're going to be that way because that's their own fears surfacing to the area. They're so caught up into the anger that's going on, the not wanting one side to win, that they're upset. And now when the one side doesn't win, they'll say, well, it's your fault because you didn't vote. And it's like, no, it takes masses of people to
I've been told if I don't vote, that's pretty much a vote for the other side.
No, it's not.
That's what I've been told. I was like, wait, what?
No, you can't vote. No one should sway your vote.
But that's been the issue. The thing that I've seen, real quick, I want to say, the thing that I've seen, and I've seen this from my own so-called people, is they're going back and forth. So if you're arguing me on why I see something a certain way that you don't see, you are trying to sway me to see it the way you see it.
Right.
Because I'm saying, listen, I see it this way. And I'm not even trying to say, come over here.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying, yo, come to this side, but you want me to come to that side because of fear. I think that's all it ends up being.
Yeah, I just think people are trying to pull everyone together for their own reasons and goals. Like, you know, like once again, hey, I really want the 25,000 that Kamala's going to say she's going to give us for the housing. So when you don't vote, it makes it harder for me to get that to move forward in life.
I get you. So
now I'm blaming you for not moving forward in life.
Well, maybe that problem shouldn't have existed. Maybe the last 4 years of when you were still in office, that should have been attention. It should have been attention to that.
Or maybe you shouldn't have bought us so many Starbucks and spent so much of your tax money the past 4 years. You should have saved better. And now
I couldn't because the people that was in office set it up so I couldn't. And now they're trying to get back in office, just switcheroo. And now I'm voting for it.
And I say to people, you know, there are always jobs there.
Let's go to music.
Yeah.
Let's go to music. Where you get the music? What's up with the music, brother? Now, you've known that I put my music out recently, and we've had a couple of records together.
Yeah.
That's been rehashed. ATF, formerly known as Too Fat,
right?
Renamed it ATF. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that record.
Yeah, ATF as Too Fat. So that's a damn near, that's a single that shit's been there for a minute. So we replenished that.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy. Yeah.
And what else? What did we have another record? Or am I thinking?
We had Ass Too Fat, Optimus High.
Optimus High.
Yeah, we had Optimus High.
That we did right here. You know what I mean? What else do you got going on?
So still promoting Mac.
That's right.
Because I feel like it's a dope record, and you know how I am, man. It's like, yo, a song could be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Could be 10 years for me.
100 years old. If I find a way to promote it, I'm always trying to get new people to listen. Mm-hmm. You know, my goal at the end, you know, I got I think 750 15,000 streams worldwide for all my music.
Mm.
I'm just trying to get to a milli. That's my goal. You know what I'm saying? I'll feel complete with that. Like I can, um, retire, make music less, and be
Yeah.
happy with that, right? So promoting Mac, working. I just got hooked back up with the PQ boys. Shout out to the
Oh,
PQ
PQ
boys.
boys. I remember the
PQJ,
producers.
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's back
From
in
the
the old apartment.
yeah. That was in Teaneck and Cedar Lane.
PQ boy. Did
yeah.
they produce that record? That record we have that I did. Remember?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
They did.
Okay.
They did the first Anakin Seed album like 11 years ago, and so I'm working with Jay from the PQ Boys. Just reached back out to Jay, and we were talking. And I'm doing music because I want to put my songs up on like Madden and NBA 2K. So I know why I'm doing music. So I'm making songs to kind of like
the themes
theme that out.
Yeah.
Because I was telling one of my guys, I said, yeah, I'll go back and perform again. I'll perform if the record is moving and there's something happening with it.
Yeah.
But
if it calls for it.
If it calls for it, but like
it might not call for it.
It might not call for it.
It might not call for it. And we're at a time now where people are making music and hardly are performing and still making money off of it.
Yeah, but because it's like there's only X amount of nights and there's only X amount of venues. And there's artists popping up all over the world. People have set in their mind people they want to go see and perform.
Yeah. You're right.
I used to, when I was doing it when I was young, it was a different era. There wasn't
and it was more excitement for it, and
there was no phones out that we were watching shows. You only seen the show out at the event.
Yeah.
So it was exciting to
I would have loved this to have a recorder for most of them shits. We did not record all that shit.
Nah.
That's the only thing.
It was a Lost Files.
Yeah, a lot of
those X-Files. Now, but the music, I'm writing back, getting back into the loop of things. Promoting is a big thing for me. I'm still trying to figure out the Facebook ads and things. I got a brief understanding of it, but I haven't really implemented it. But hopefully tomorrow, we talked to Bump today, so hopefully tomorrow we'll go to the studio. You guys will get some footage from the studio. And I'm still, nothing has changed. I have not wrote one line to the song yet. I'm just waiting to get into the studio. Sit
you
down
have the beat?
Bump. I got the beat. Yeah.
You have the do you have the hook in your head?
No.
Oh, you just know you're gonna do something to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that's how you move now, all right, fine.
It's the purest form, I feel like.
You're just gonna go into it, play.
Yeah, because Bump's gonna be there, so I want to see what he's talking about. I want to play it off him.
Got you.
Get a little vibe and everything like that. And
okay.
I always believe the best stuff comes when it's that moment, when it spills out at
it's more authentic and it's more real, and everything you get is going to be from
and then the volume of the music. Like, we're not making 5-minute songs no more. Where we
2 minute tops.
2 minutes and 30 seconds tops.
Yeah, you could get a verse,
run the hook 3-4 times.
Yeah, do one. You could do one ill verse or maybe 2 verses.
Especially when you're writing music for a video game.
For a video game, you could say
you're writing it so that it's catchy. It goes. There's some context behind it, but it's selling the purpose of what you're trying to get it done for.
Got you,
right? So like that's the most important thing, especially because no one's really doing videos like that no more.
As long as you don't explain how you doing all you doing on your music like Dirk been doing, just explain about how. You caught a nigga, and that nigga got caught.
I feel, it's. Listen, man.
Think about it. Did you think that this was going to be music? Think about all the people that wanted to make it, and all the people that made it a lot of the people that made it in the last 5 to 10 years. Oh no, the 10 years have lost their lives.
Yeah,
or got locked up.
Much more than when
we were coming up.
Much more.
Like when Biggie and Pac happened, that was really, really, really big.
It's fame, my G. It's fame. It's like, it's this.
The phones.
You know, just like the name of your podcast, it's attention whores. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I named it
And
that.
then people, you know, I'll be honest with you. When I look at the world, I just see a lot of like lonely people,
Mm.
and they need that attention. They need, you know, I seen this chick on the plane flying with me this morning, and she took some pictures looking at herself and looking back at the views, the likes. She closed her phone down, opened it back up 10 minutes later, checking the likes and the views, and then looking back at herself in the camera. And
Surface.
it
But that
we're here. We're here. We're just all on surface level trying to be a star. Because that's what the last generation told us to do, you know, become a star.
well,
Now everyone's doing it. And
they had examples of people just making it out of the blue with less. I think ever since like you get someone like a Soldier Boy that
yeah,
took something and created what he
yeah.
is, and then you continue, and then technology gets better and better and better.
And these cats is made so much money, they feel untouchable. And they
Yeah.
do stupid stuff, and
And they put everything on the
they
phone.
don't realize that, once again, I said this before, you cannot stay in the same spot for too long. It'll corrode. You cannot be a gangster rapper for too long. It's okay when you're 19 and 20. You can even go to jail and come out. And if you change in time,
Yeah.
the world will forget it.
Like your Belizean brother.
Yes, like Shine, you know. or the best example, didn't go to jail for too long or nothing like that, but the best example is Snoop Dogg. You know, there were
he
people,
switched up, and he was the super gangster.
but you have to. You cannot remain in the same space for too long. And that is the
He was
problem.
able to capitalize off of everything and still be able to move around in certain pockets. That's what
still
happened.
married to his wife.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
Now he's Grandpa Snoop at the
Yeah.
Olympics. We all love him. You know, the 19-year-old Olympians are all like, look at Grandpa Snoop up there.
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter.
He's gonna smoke.
He's gonna do his thing. He's still Snoop Dogg.
I think it's Snoop and LL, the two most famous rappers.
But you have to
MCs.
know when to let go of a thing and progress.
Got you.
People might say you're falling off, but it actually is true. You're falling off from the niche you were doing, and you're about to do something new. And whether you're Dirk and you're caught up in gang stuff, or you're Diddy and you're caught up with not wanting
the freak offs.
Yeah, like, but you know, really what that is at a certain point, you're a 50-year-old man. That lifestyle is conducive to 20s and 30-year-olds.
The top 30,
The top,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now, no one says you can't host events and have fun.
Yeah.
But
it's not gonna change.
It's not gonna change.
No.
You have to grow. You have to get out of that thing and move forward and move on. And if you can't, then you're gonna end up stuck. You're gonna end up stuck. Cats is gonna get caught up with killings, and you know, now your boy died, Vaughn died. Now you're pissed off about it.
You gotta get back at him.
You know, and then you gotta get back at him. When the truth of the matter is,
you fucked up your whole shit.
Should have let it go. But because of the culture of the gangs, you're not supposed to let it go.
Or you can't be seen as letting it go. You can't be seen as letting it go.
And the crazy thing is like, we're talking about him doing this, but it's like, yo, that's the exact reason when you say we created our own, we don't have anything. What we have is this, we created music, and music has become entertainment, and that entertainment has become Black culture.
And Black culture is coming straight from the actual street.
Yes.
So it's all intertwining.
Everything is
so now when you find out that a rapper had died, it was a rapper, but this nigga rapped like 2 months ago, and he was a street nigga just doing regular shit. So is he really a rapper?
Black culture no longer, that's the thing. Black culture doesn't come from the household. It comes from the street outside.
Yeah.
So it's very, it's not conducive.
But they
to-
combine, they kind of blend everything in
Yes.
when it comes to us.
You know
That's
what I'm
why it's
saying?
jokes and silly
Yeah.
things of that
You know,
nature.
it's like, I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, it's like, you know, we got to be able to just do better. When you got all that money, you got to do better.
What?
You know?
How's life been in NC, man? Before we get out of here,
North Carolina,
North Carolina.
throw your hands up. Yo, NC is dope. Charlotte's dope. You know what I'm saying? I love the people in Charlotte. I love the vibes. It's not as a late night spot like Miami or New York, but you know, it'll take you to like 2 in the
But
morning.
were you are you closer? Are you you're not in Charlotte, are you?
Yeah, I'm in
You're in
Charlotte.
Charlotte? Oh,
Yeah.
so that's like how's that been? Because that's been growing for a while.
Yeah, Charlotte's dope.
Mm.
I mean, it's up and coming, it's growing, gentrifying all over the place.
I mean,
Um,
so
yeah,
should
you
be.
know, but it's dope, you know. Reminds me of like it's like a mix of Teaneck and Hackensack to me.
Interesting.
You know,
I could kind of see what era. What era of both towns are we talking about?
like
There's different eras, nigga.
yeah, like how Hackensack and Teaneck, you could still feel the suburban vibe, but you could see the city movement happen.
Got you.
Yeah.
I could tell.
Yeah, so North Carolina's dope. I love it. You know, it's not too cold, not too hot. Not too far from up here in Jersey, not too far from getting down to Belize. I think the vibe, the movement, you know, so many people from LA and New York coming down, so it's a little trendy, a little hippie at sometimes. Still got some real, you know, black neighborhoods. Still South, got that South feel to it.
Got you.
I like it. It's dope.
Okay, that's what's up. You've been out there for the same time. Well, right after you
Yeah,
came from Belize, right?
yeah. I went straight to NC.
Yeah, that's right. He was like, yeah, because you was like, I'm not sure if I'm coming. Now I'm going right to NC.
You know what? And I'll say this before we leave. I'll say this. Yes, I came here, and there was the NC, and there was a specific reason why. And it's because I realized I was at the age where I was hanging out more than actually doing anything. And it's nice to be around my boys. It's nice to feel that love.
I feel what you're saying.
That family.
Yeah.
But I don't get much stuff done.
Yeah.
Because we're always hanging out.
Yeah.
We're always partying. We're always doing something. So I wanted to go somewhere and be by myself.
And I had to force you,
know,
to
and
actually,
lock in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if I didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? If I came back up to Jersey, I wouldn't be in the airline industry. I wouldn't be doing the stuff that I'm doing now, taking care of the stuff of my family back home. So now it feels good, man. I feel like I'm really at peace. You know what I'm saying? Like I am comfortable in my skin.
That's
know.
Good. When did it? How long did it take you to be completely comfortable with yourself?
After great loss, I think after me and my wife split up, it took a great reshaping of my idea of what life and family is supposed to be. And so then going back home, talking to my mom, and she's got this phrase she always says, you know, life begins again at 40. And she always says, she's like, what you've learned in your 20s, you applied in your 30s, and in your 40s, you correct the mistakes. Right? And then so now I'm finally at a space, you know, because when you're with someone for a long time, I didn't know if I loved lasagna because my ex-wife loved lasagna.
It got to the point like that?
Well, I mean, you're with someone for
I'm going to tell you right now,
15 years.
as a friend of you and your ex-wife,
yeah,
she could cook some fucking food.
But you end up liking the stuff that each other likes because you're supporting each other. So the biggest thing is coming out of that, trying to find who you are, the things you like, what drives you, before making sure we had a shelter over us and food was what drove me to get up every day. To making sure that if she needed something, I would have the finances to do it, to build the family we need to. When you're by yourself now, then what motivates you to get up to go get a house? If there's only you, right? You focus in on learning more about yourself. You focus in on developing that. And I would say, well, I'm 43, turning 44 in April. I would definitely say maybe like a year and a half ago, it started to work. You know, put myself with different people, associate myself with different crowds, and learn to have understanding for what the things went wrong in my life, trying to fix those things, not being too difficult with myself because, God loves me.
Mm-hmm.
God loves everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And, Christ died for our sins, not only in that moment, but also in the future. So it's like one of those things of understanding that we're imperfect. We're not going to do everything right. But as long as you try to develop yourself in the best way you can,
It'll work for you.
it'll work out. And so I did that and just got comfortable, And I guess at the end of the day, when I put the name badge on and it says Lukey, that was it. That you're at the best comfort ever.
This nigga here brings it all the way back to Lukey.
Lukey, baby.
Is there anything you want to ask? Any questions? You got the floor, sir.
No, I just want to say thank you to the Attention Horror Podcast family, listeners, viewers. Oh my God, of course you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Gotta do it right. And definitely, yeah, we live in interesting times.
Definitely. Very interesting.
Very interesting times.
Go out there and vote.
Yeah.
For whoever you want to vote
for. Go vote.
Yeah.
Definitely go vote. Go out there and vote. And no matter what happens, please do always remember that change is within you. Change will never happen from the outside. So even if the outcome doesn't occur that what you want, that still doesn't mean that life cannot change and be good. And and show love to family and friends. Be good to each other. You know what I'm saying? Train hard, eat well, sleep well.
Yeah, he's a Vulcan too, or whatever the fuck they do. Live well and prosper. I can't do it.
That one I got. That's from Master Roshi. That's what Master Roshi told Google. He said, "Train well, eat well, sleep well."
That's why he's always fucking eating.
You know what I mean?
Thank you, brother, for coming up. I appreciate you like always.
Always.
Another episode of the unstoppable, almighty AWP Attention Horse Podcast.
You heard. Hey, and by the way, quick thing, make sure you go support Dragon Ball Daima.
I've been trying
Dragon Ball Daima.
It's on Netflix, right?
It's on Disney Plus.
It's on Netflix too, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Dragon Ball Daima is out. It's crazy.
Yeah, they become kids again or something?
Yes, they did. It's crazy.
It's a mix between like GT and Z, and it's after Boo or some shit
it's
like
after Boo, before Super.
So they keep retconning shit, right?
Yeah,
and this is the last one Toriyama did, right?
Yes, before he passed away.
Yeah. Did he complete it?
Yeah, he did. He did complete it.
Okay. So
Dragon Ball Daima. And for my real manga heads, I gotta say this.
I missed the letters. Z, GT, I could follow. Daima, Super. Yeah. What's that other shit they got? Was a card game?
Hero.
It's good.
And for my real, for my heads out there, my true manga heads, make sure y'all get up with Boruto 2 Blue Vortex.
What? He turns blue?
Is the...
He turns blue.
If you're following the Boruto Next Generations that came from Naruto, that'll be that. You know what I'm saying?
That's it, Negro.
One love, man.